This is the URA. This is the URA, how to apply for a URA microloan webinar. So we will be talking about the steps that you need to go through to apply for one of our loans. My name's Josette Fitzgibbons. I'm with the Urban Redevelopment Authority. I'm a business program officer. And we also have with us tonight Carly Turkley from the URA, Heather Murray from the Financial Empowerment Center, and Kate Booker from the Chatham Center for Women's Entrepreneurship. We will we're going to be going through a PowerPoint tonight, and trying to go through all of the steps, including one of the good things about going applying for a URA microloan is that you get technical assistance as well. So Heather and Dave and Kate will be going through that. I'm going to share my screen and start our presentation. Okay. Hold on one second. I always think that I'm completely ready, and I am never completely ready. Okay, let's go to screen share. And here we are. Okay, folks, so I'm going to start with the first couple of slides and talk about just who the URA is and kind of what we're doing tonight. And then I will turn it over to Carly, and Carly will be leading you through most of the presentation. So this is the URA. We've gone through some changes this year. We're the city's it's the Urban Redevelopment Authority. We're the city's redevelopment arm. And we've kind of broadened our scope this year. So our mission really is to support the city's economic development goals and create a city of inclusive opportunity for everybody, for residents, for stakeholders, and communities. We focus on creating more housing that is affordable to the average Pittsburgher. We encourage more entrepreneurship and small business development within the city. We promote inclusive growth, quality job creation. We want to expand neighborhood and Main Street revitalization efforts and develop a talented workforce that is equipped with the skills that they need for the future. If you're interested in staying connected with us, visit our website, which is easy. It's ura.org. All of the information that we'll talk about tonight, a lot of it is on there, and our contact information. You can also go to the bottom of our homepage and sign up to get our monthly newsletter, which is a pretty good little newsletter that talks about all of the programs and all of the activities we're doing throughout the city. You can also follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So we've pretty active social media accounts as well. So tonight we're going to be talking about applying for the URA's microloan program. But the first question is, so what is a microloan? So the microloan is a program offering smaller amounts of capital to to new or existing businesses to help you start or expand. They typically range from $5,000 to $50,000, although ours is between $5,000 and $30,000. That depends on the lender. You'll also run into some organizations that that offer really micro loans, like Kiva, that will offer loans that are up to 5,000, like 500 to 5,000. The interest rates varies, the terms vary according to the lender. And in many cases, because they're dealing with startup businesses, they offer some sort of technical assistance as well. So the best thing to do as you're looking for help for your business is to research all of this and to become familiar with the fine print of these programs. You might run into something that says, we can give you $10,000 tomorrow, you know, that you can just sign up for this online and you'll get it delivered to your bank account or something like that. But you really have to be careful and research everything, because you might be dealing with a really high interest rate or something like that. So what we're going to tell you tonight is do your homework for all of this. And we're going to hopefully give you all of the information that you need for our microloan, for working with the URA. So I'm going to move to the next slide and and turn it over to Carly.
Thanks, Josette.
Oh wait, just one more thing. If you all have questions, try putting them in the chat. We don't have a real big group, so we may be able to have some more free discussion, but I'll also be monitoring the chat. So if you have a question that comes up, write it down and we will address it.
That's a great point. Thanks for sharing that, Josette, and thank you for the intro. And for folks on the call, I'd also like to mention too, this slideshow is going to also be emailed to you if you registered via the Eventbrite link. So keep that in mind. You don't have to like rush and write everything down. I would hate for that to happen and like we change the slide. So just know that we're going to share this information with you and follow up after the presentation or at some point tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we'll just keep the conversation going. So as Josette mentioned, some more information about the microloan itself. We're going to take a deeper dive on the URA side and what our microloan program offers. And so this is very much the nitty gritty side of the microloan. And we, as Josette had mentioned, at a minimum, we can lend $5,000 and then at a maximum, we can lend $30,000 with an interest rate at 2%, which is fixed. That's not going to change. That is something that is pretty competitive on the market. And as you're doing your research and your homework, as Josette said, that that's also another question you might want to ask other lenders, or kind of assess what would work best for your business right now or your business that you're planning to start up. And some other important things to note too, including the loan term, fees, those are all listed. I'm not going to read through everything for sake of time. And but I did want to highlight too the fact that our microloan program has free technical assistance available prior to applying to the microloan program to assist with business plan assembly and kind of finalization and getting that done, projections, assembling what your forecast of at least the first year of your business is going to look like. If you are a startup, if you are already operating, AKA if you're a business that you're already getting revenue, you already have customers or you have a product line, technical assistance is still a valid option if you need help kind of going through and putting together a profit and loss statement. If you need help with putting any other pieces of the microloan application together, technical assistance is there for you. And it's free, there are no strings attached. And that's why we have Kate Booker from Chatham on the webinar tonight with you, as well as Heather from the Financial Empowerment Center. So just something to keep in mind. And when you get this PowerPoint too, when we follow up with you via email, there's a lot of hyperlinks in these slides. So you see like at the bottom of this slide, there's going to be a link to our Access to Capital page where you can see not just the URA's microloan program, but other loan programs that we have for businesses within the city of Pittsburgh. So it's just something to keep in mind. So next slide, please. Oh yeah, and then this is pretty important. When it comes to the URA's microloan program, this is pretty much the eligible activities are going to be very common activities from a startup business to an existing business, but just wanted to kind of clear the air on what the microloan funds can be used for and what they cannot be used for. So things that the microloan can be used for are things like machinery, equipment, the delivery of such items or installation of those items, working capital for new sales growth, anything that's really related to starting up your business or getting some startup capital that would kind of qualify under working capital. Leasehold improvements, including facade renovations, would be another eligible activity under the microloan program. That's for if you're thinking about moving into a brick and mortar location, or if you're already in a location in the city of Pittsburgh and you need some improvements to that space on the facade or even inside of it, that's something that we can explore together. And then something else too that maybe some folks aren't sure about, but it's maybe a fun fact, are soft costs. And those soft costs can also be part of the financing structure of the microloan. So we can help support you on costs of the project that might not be foreseen or anticipated or budgeted correctly, like your Allegheny County Health Department permit fees if you're starting up a restaurant or a food business, drawing fees, things like that. Soft costs can really add up, and that's something that we're really happy that we can provide support for. And then when it comes to the ineligible or the things that you cannot use the microloan for, we cannot allow folks to borrow our funds and then refinance existing debts with that money. Remember, these are public dollars, so we cannot do that. And then another important point too is the microloan cannot be used to purchase real estate, whether that's a building or land. You cannot distribute or pay the owners and partners, shareholders, or beneficiaries of your own family or, you know, the applicant's kind of cohort of folks. Like, it can't be of personal gain. It's strictly a business loan. That's as clearly as I can state it. So, and then we also on our website have more detailed microloan guidelines, which really go into all the nooks and crannies of the program. But I just wanted to cover this so that way, if we want to talk more specifically on what you're thinking about using a microloan for, this is going to give you a pretty good foundation. Next slide, please. Great. I love this slide. Pretty much this is, it gives you a pretty good screenshot or dashboard report of the program itself. Just for historical purposes, the microloan program, I believe, started at the Urban Redevelopment Authority in early of, I would say, March or April of 2018. So it's been established, and we have quite the portfolio of 62 loans, and then some, since we're still actively underwriting and lending. And yeah, I just wanted to showcase this too, because we worked with a lot of businesses who are MWBE businesses. And if folks aren't familiar with what MWBE stands for, it's for Minority Women Business Enterprises. So if you yourself are an MWBE or a WBE, or there's many more, if you're a veteran, or yeah, I'm thinking of other ones. Maybe we can talk about that too. There's certain certifications. So if you're interested, we can talk offline about that. And I can get you connected with some colleagues who are the experts. But yeah, There's some borrowers of ours, IT's for me on the bottom left picture, and Concrete Rose, Tina Daniels. So fun facts for you. Next slide, please. So many of you might be kind of still struggling with this question, or you might be like, yes, I really am ready to apply for business capital. All right, let's get more into detail. So next slide, please. We're going to learn more. We're going to cover first startup businesses, and then we're going to go into existing businesses and what you're going to need. I wanted to preface that if you're thinking of an idea of, or if you have an idea of a business, it's really important to kind of organize that idea and put that through kind of an analysis and an assessment, whether it's products and services that you plan to provide, and building a really comprehensive business plan around that. And a business plan has a lot of components. There's many templates available. The URA has a template that we share for free. That's something you just basically ask us, and we will certainly email that and share it. Chatham Center for Women's Entrepreneurship, they have a lot of resources too, as many others as well. So building up a plan that's really going to wrap your idea and kind of bring more light into reality of like how it's actually going to work in the neighborhood that you want to focus in, how you're going to make money, how are you going to pay your bills, how are you going to pay any debt back if you're going to borrow, who are your customers, what's your market, it goes on and on, but it's very detailed and it's very important. So be sure to think about that. And then some things about budgeting the startup of your business, what it's going to take to start the business, and kind of laying that out in a spreadsheet or on a Word doc, and getting the cost budgeted of how much is it going to take to continue operating your business once you have it up and running. And for a brick and mortar location, it's kind of a little bit of a different analysis and conversation with yourself and maybe a technical assistance provider. Is where you want to be located. They always say location, location, location. There's a analysis, there's a lot of research and development on that particular point. So I'm just bringing that to light. And maybe when you're preparing your business plan and thinking of all these things, and you might find that you need some funding for your business, and that's okay. And we can talk more about that later, but just wanted to kind of nail down certain specifics and bring those to light. And if you are not legally established as a business in Pennsylvania, now's the time to do it. You'll need to do that in order to borrow business dollars, or excuse me, from a commercial loan program like the URA's microloan program. There's some links through the state's government website on how to create a legal name, fictitious name, things like that. Establishing a sole proprietorship or an LLC. And those are some things that Kate can maybe talk about tonight, or we can have a conversation about, or that can be something offline. But just bringing that to your attention is the goal of that. So next slide, please. And then on the flip side, if you are like, I already have a product, I'm already, making revenue, but I really need to grow it, or I really have a hard time building some strategy around taking my business to the next level, or I have this idea on how I want to grow it, but I don't know where to start. This is the time where you want to revisit your business plan, or kind of revisit your business model, and continue to assess it, kind of poke some holes through it, see what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, and see if those business goals and strategies still hold true. And now's the time to really revisit them and challenge yourself to see if you need to update those and kind of reach towards new goals and strategies for the business. And something else too, if you are in a brick and mortar location, it's always a good thing to revisit your lease agreement. And if your term is up, what do you want to do? Do you want to renew? Do you want to go somewhere else? Do you find that where you're at is a good location for your business? There's a lot of things to kind of shift and think about on. But it's always a nice idea to kind of think periodically, whether that's on an annual basis or twice a year, on creating healthy business habits of like, okay, am I hitting my benchmarks that I wanted to hit in my projections? Am I making as many sales as I want to? Am I getting the customers that I intended for, or is it totally going in another direction I was anticipating? So kind of checking in, doing that self-assessment on your business is not a bad thing. And if you have the opportunity, working with a mentor on the, whether it's through a business organization, through maybe Chatham or another local organization, a mentor who can keep you accountable and check in with you and be that soundboard and support system, it can be a very valuable resource. So something else to kind of keep in mind if you already have a business and might need a friend to kind of vent on some problems or kind of problem solve with, and getting some input on that. But at the same time too, you might come to that conclusion that you might need to explore a small business loan to then take those new strategies or those new business goals that you kind of agreed upon with yourself and your business to take it to the next level. So we'll go into the next slide. And really, this is the first step in the URA microloan process. And it's, if you feel like you're ready for a URA microloan, these are the points that are really going to firm up your application. And it means that, if you are in the city of Pittsburgh, this is like the first question we always ask folks who are interested in the program. And if you're located in the city of Pittsburgh, or your business is located in the city of Pittsburgh, we can work together, we can work together on the microloan. If your business is located outside of the city, that doesn't mean, we the URA cannot lend outside the city of Pittsburgh limits, but we can still connect you. We can still network you and connect you with other resources, other lenders in the area who can provide you that same support. It'll just be kind of a different relationship. We just want to make sure that there's that connection. And through the slide too, there's this really helpful GIS map through the city's website that if you aren't sure if your business is in the city or not, you can basically plug in an address, kind of like Google Maps, and see where it falls within the city limits or not. So for example, Wilkinsburg, McKees Rocks, they are not city of Pittsburgh. Those are outside the city of Pittsburgh limits. We get calls about that a lot. And so just wanted to be pretty transparent on that. Another thing to think about when it comes to applying for a URA microloan is your personal credit score. And you might find through your research, or you might have already found out, that personal credit scores, there's a lot of minimums out there. You have to have a minimum of 650 or 700 or what have you. But for the URA's microloan program, we don't have a defined minimum credit score. We do want to preface though that applicants who have poor credit history, we still want to work with you. But at the same time, we find that the priority is more giving attention and focus to bringing more like financial support and counseling through the Financial Empowerment Center, which is something that Heather can definitely speak on. And for the group, if anyone wants to kind of talk through personal credit scores or what we look at, or even the experience from on the counseling side with Heather, that's something that we can talk about tonight.
So
And then
Carly,
yeah.
Just one quick thing about location and the credit score as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you are like doing your business from your home, for example, right now, and you live in Ross Township or McKees Rocks or somewhere that's just outside of the city of Pittsburgh in a suburban area, and you're thinking about expanding to a location within the city, or if you have a store that's outside of the city and you're thinking of of adding another or moving,
Mhm.
then we can work with you and we can talk to you.
Yeah.
If you're, you live outside of the city, but you're thinking of moving your business into the city, we
Right.
can work with you. And the other piece about the credit scores too is that we understand that life gets in the way of credit scores.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons we created this program, was to help folks who have run into some things. You might have a great business model, and great, really everything else is in line, but you went through a divorce or you had an illness or
Mhm.
whatever, life happened, and so your credit score got kicked down. So those are the things that we will work with you on.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry, move on.
That's a no apologies needed. That's a great add-on. Thank you for sharing those points, Josette. I think that's really valuable to add on to. And then to kind of wrap up this slide, we also, for the microloan program, um, we want to make sure that there is skin in the game from the applicant or you possibly. Um, we have an equity contribution requirement of a minimum of 10% of the total project cost. So if you are applying for, say, a $10,000 loan, you would need to show to your fellow loan officer, whether it's myself or someone else on the commercial lending side, you would need to show your loan officer via receipts, documentation, things like that, that you've put in at least $1,000 of your own money. Um, so that's something to keep in mind. Next slide, please. All right, so documents needed to apply for a UA microloan. This is very specific, but essentially these are the things that if you do apply to our microloan program, these aren't, it's exactly from our checklist. So I wanted to make sure that you had full access to all of the things that you would need to provide and organize and have at the ready when you apply for a microloan with us, if it's the right time. And as I mentioned, this slide applies to new and existing businesses. So, making sure again that you have a business plan. If you are interested in our microloan program, but again aren't really sure, you're like, I have a business plan, but it's not like 100%, or I need help, you can still reach out to myself or our department or Josette, and we can pair you up with technical assistance. So that way you're not alone and you can get support and kind of move through the business plan, get everything situated for your application. And along that line, if you need help with the cash flow projections, that's something else that we can talk about too. And some other documents that will be needed for an application will be your personal tax returns for the past 3 years and copies of the last 3 months of your personal checking statements, whether that's with one bank or two banks, whatever works. Like, yeah, we'll we'll talk through that. But most people have one, but everyone's different. So, and then the last thing that we would need is a completed W-9 form. And don't forget to sign and date it, because sometimes that happens. And then we also have an application that is basically, I think, a 10-page form that would be filled out and completed and also provided with these items that you see in front of you on this slideshow. So there's kind of a whole package that needs to be assembled, if that makes sense. So. And the next slide, please.
So as we go to the next slide, and we're going to be talking about technical assistance.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Know that we can help you with any one of those things, and so that's what we're going to be talking about now. So that is the list of the things that we need when you apply, but don't let that list scare you, because they're the things that our technical assistance is in place for to help you with. Just one more note: we have another URA staff on that joined our meeting tonight, and it's Claren Healy. Claren takes care of connecting people with spaces as much as we can. We have some URA property throughout the city that we own, but not really that much, not as much as people think. But a lot of times when someone comes in and says, I'm interested in moving to Brighton Heights, I like the North Side, or I like the South Hills, or something like that, and we don't have any, URA properties there, but we work with the communities to let us know when there is a space open up in a business district or something like that. And Claren is the keeper of all of that information. So she just put in the chat her email. So if you have a business and you're looking for space in certain neighborhoods or something, feel free to email and myself, or email Claren and say, hey, I'm interested. Do you know if there's anything available? And we might be able to connect you up with some space. We're not real estate. Actually, Claren in her other life is actually a real estate agent, but as URA employees, we're not real estate agents. We won't represent you or anything like that, but we can provide the connection. Okay, so we are talking, as we're talking now, we're talking about the technical assistance that we provide. So one of the benefits of our microloan program is that you get this help both with your application and, if you get approved and you become one of our loan clients, you can get help after you have your loan as well. Even if you come back to us a year from now and say, I'm still having an issue with my legal documents or pricing my products or something like that, we can connect you with technical assistance. So first on our agenda is the Pittsburgh Financial Empowerment Center, the FEC. These are free services offered within the city of Pittsburgh. And when folks come in with credit issues, with kind of financial management kind of issues, we refer directly to the FEC. And we have Heather Murray is on the line from the FEC. So I'm going to turn it over for a few minutes to Heather first.
Thank you, Josette. Hi, everyone. Like Josette said, I'm with the Pittsburgh Financial Empowerment Center. We are a program of the City of Pittsburgh from the Mayor's Office, Advantage Credit Counseling, and Neighborhood Allies. The FEC is really designed to be a one-on-one, long-term financial coaching counselor relationship. We work individually with clients on a variety of issues. Particularly for this program, though, we work with you on your credit score, your credit report, any kinds of things that you might need to clean up on your credit report. How the FEC services work is that you schedule an appointment with one of our counselors. We have 5 counselors, typically in normal times. They are placed in different organizations throughout the city, but right now everybody is working from home, so all of the services are being offered virtually. So you can either do a video counseling appointment, or you can also do a counseling appointment over the phone. So they go through your full financial picture. They'll pull your credit report, help you deal with anything that maybe you have on there, or help you develop a plan to deal with anything that you might have on there. The thing to remember about the FEC is that our services are free. There's never going to be any cost to you for any counseling sessions that you have with us, and that you can always access our services. You don't have to be a part of the URA microloan program. If you want to get started before you even apply for your loan, you can reach out to us. Friends or family, if you know they need this assistance, you can reach out to us. We do serve city residents, but we also serve residents outside the city as well. But really, it's a great service, no matter where you are in this process. All of our counselors are extremely passionate about what they do. They make this a very easy process for you to go through. It's not scary or intimidating, and they really help you develop that plan to get you on your way, moving forward with your loan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the phone number in the chat so everybody has that if you want to call and make an appointment. You can also find us on Facebook. You can make appointments virtually that way. And then also there is, I think, a referral process from the URA when you're in the loan process. They'll refer directly to our counselors as well. And I'll be sticking around if you have any questions on anything specific.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, we have at the end of our presentation, we have a slide with all the contact information too. And also,
Okay.
as you're, if you're referred to the Financial Empowerment Center, you can still be moving through the application process. Most of the time, you can still be moving through the application process as well. It's not something that always has to happen first. In some other cases, you have to go through the credit counseling first and then do the application. You can do it at the same time as you're moving through the application process. The key is that we at the URA, our loan review folks, are seeing that you're working towards clearing up the issues that you had. So next is Kate Booker from the Chatham Center for Women's Entrepreneurship. And the Center for Women's Entrepreneurship works with the URA on the microloan program. So if you come in and you say that you need help with putting together your financial documents or writing your business plan or any of that, you will get referred to Chatham to help you. So I'm going to turn it over to Kate, and you can
Thank you,
tell us what
Josette.
you do.
Sure, happy to share. Thanks for having me on here this evening. I always tell people that I talk to that the URA microloan is a really incredible program because there aren't too many programs out there that will lend money to startups. And having a program in the city that will lend to startups and that provides the technical assistance support to try and help them be successful is a real asset to our city. So thank you for that. So the Center for Women's Entrepreneurship at Chatham University is an SBA resource partner. And while we have the name women in our name, we actually serve men and women. So we can serve any entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs to be with entrepreneurial training, counseling, and education. We did a lot more mentoring and networking when we were meeting in person more, but right now we're meeting primarily through Zoom and phone meetings. We provide technical assistance support for microenterprise loan applicants on all areas of the loan application, depending on what the applicants need. So typically what happens is, a counselor or a client is in touch with the URA, and the loan officer assigned to the client reaches out to us to tell us a little bit of information about the potential business and about what their needs may be to get their application completed. And everybody is filtered to me initially, and then we have 4 counselors who you can be assigned to work with on a one-on-one basis by phone or by Zoom to complete your application for the microenterprise loan. And for some clients, this means working on their financial projections. For some clients, it means working on the actual business plan. For others, it just means having sort of an accountability partner to go through each of the steps and make sure that they're done and double checked and ready for submission. You know, additionally we have technical assistance. We have specialized technical assistance counseling in addition to general business counseling. So we've had a couple URA clients who have worked with the Center for Women's Entrepreneurship counselors, general business counselors on their plan, and then need a little bit more tweaking on specific areas. And we have subject matter expert counselors, about another 8 of them, who focus on accounting and tax, legal, diversity certifications, digital marketing, HR, and general marketing. So if there's a part of the business plan that's lacking in one of those areas, or perhaps you're an existing business and you have, you know, a payroll issue and you need to help getting the right payroll process in place, we can have you meet with our HR consultant to work through an appropriate payroll solution for your business. Perhaps it's tax or accounting or something like that. We'll work with you on any of those issues. And Carly had mentioned as well that I might touch on sole proprietorships versus LLCs. And we do help businesses decide what is the right entity for them, and can help them walk through the process of applying for their name, to get their name registered, or their fictitious name registered, or to submit the certificate of organization paperwork that would create an LLC in the state of Pennsylvania. We can walk through the appropriate tax documents if you need to file the SP 100, if you're going to be collecting sales tax. We can help you walk through any of the steps really to get your EIN number, to get your certificate of organization, and to become an official entity so that you can qualify to receive this loan. And we'll help you work through your application to make sure you know, you've thought about your target market, you've thought about your pricing structure, you've thought about how you're going to reach your customers, and you've put together a solid plan that will get funded and set you up for success when you're operating or growing your current business. We also have worked with URA clients after they've received their microloans to provide additional support as they grow. Frequently, prior to receiving the loan, we work with clients for about 5 hours on a one-on-one basis, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. And sometimes after they've received the loan, it's about the same amount of time. So let's see, I think that covers most of the things I wanted to touch on. The Center for Women's Entrepreneurship, as I said, we have one-on-one business counseling, technical assistance counseling, and lots of different training seminars and lots of webinars about business and business management and entrepreneurs, and how to you know, improve your reach and improve your profitability and manage in a changing regulatory environment. Additionally, we promote products offered by the SBA, including some of the emergency loans and grants that have been made available throughout this pandemic. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to us. We're helping a lot of people process Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness applications at this time. So my contact information, I know, is at the end of the slideshow. And I saw that some of these active links, you linked to our website at the very beginning when you introduced us. So please feel free to reach out to us directly, or if you are in the middle of the microloan application process, or have already been in touch with the URA about it and would like some additional support through that process, just let them know and they'll connect you with us. So thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Kate. And I'm going to move on to the next slide. And we are back to Carly.
Awesome. Thank you, Josette. Thanks, Heather and Kate, for sharing that info. But switching back into the gear mode of what you need to to put together your URA microloan application. And this slide is for existing businesses only. You saw on the other slide that you need your business plan, your cash flow projections, your W-9, personal bank statements for the past 3 months, things like that. Then on top of that, for you existing businesses out there, you'll also need to provide the past 2 years of your business tax returns, copies of your business bank statements for the past 3 months, your profit and loss statements, and other financial statements like your balance sheet for the past 3 years. If that's the case, say if you've only been in business for 2 years, we would just look back for those 2 years, and any organizing documents you have for the business, whether that's depending on your business structure, if you are a corporation, your articles of incorporation or organization, and if you're a partnership agreement. If you are a LLC or a limited liability corporation, you would have an operating agreement. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the items that you would need to put together and organize with the URA microloan application. We say, I abbreviate, I say app, but it's not an app, it's an application. So a lot of people have asked in the past, like, how long does this process take? Like, when will I know if I will get a microloan for my business? And typically the process takes 30 to 90 days. And it really depends to if you need technical assistance, if you need some extra support, like Kate was mentioning, in like digital marketing or legal things that might take some more time. And that's okay. You can continue to be in our microloan pipeline for as long as you need. We just want to make sure that your application is going to be reviewed by our internal review committee and our microloan review committee in its strongest possible position. We want to make sure that your application is ready to go. It is strong as it can be. It's ready. So your loan officer will ask questions as they are underwriting the application and those materials that I discussed earlier, and get back to you on maybe some questions that they had during the underwriting process. And they might even ask you for some additional documents that they might need to help strengthen your application, strengthen the case on why your loan request, for example, $10,000 should be approved by the internal review committee and the microloan review committee. And just wanted to share that the internal review committee, we meet once a month to determine if your loan request is in a strong position. And I have a hyperlink here because I'm a huge fan of hyperlinks that in the program guidelines for the microloan, and they're also on our website, we do evaluate, but we're not limited to the following kind of evaluation components. So we look at the management ability, of you as an entrepreneur, and maybe your team, maybe you have another owner to your business. We look at your personal credit. And if you have more than one business owner to the entity, we underwrite owners who have 20% or more ownership. So if you have 100%, that's cool. If you're 50-50, that's totally fine. But just wanted to highlight that we do underwrite owners who have 20% or more ownership in the entity or the business. And something else too that might not be at the top of your head, but we do look at the viability of the business. We want to make sure that as we're looking through the projections, we understand your business model, how you're going to make money, that you are going to leverage these dollars and be able to not only pay the debt back, but really grow your business from the microloan. It's not going to be a hindrance. It's not going to push you back. Like that would be the worst case. Like we would never want that to happen. We want to make sure that this is going to help your business. So we really look at the viability of the business, and we take that very seriously. And we want to make sure that we're protecting your business as best possible. That's why we have a lot of discussions, and we do then take it to our microloan review committee, who also meets once a month, and they also go through these conversations and questions to really better understand if this loan is really going to help your business. Is it going to grow your business? Things like that. And is it going to really, is this new piece of equipment going to expand your product line and really bring in a lot more revenue or diversify how you're making money for your business? You know, we could talk, or I could talk for a while on this, but I just wanted to kind of hit home on those notes for you. And something that's interesting too about this program is that if your application goes to the microloan review committee, you yourself are part of that meeting. You would introduce yourself to the committee. We take these meetings on Zoom at the moment, but if we were, you know, pre-COVID, we would be doing this in a conference room. You would come in and introduce yourself, present your business to the committee. And this is a committee that's made up of a host, I would say like 10 or so folks who volunteer their time. They're not URA employees. And they would get to know you really and ask questions directly to you about your business and what you want to do with the microloan. Now, say if your application is approved by the committee, you are then working with your loan officer to kind of go through those next steps. And that next step is a commitment letter. And you wouldn't need to do anything at that time. The loan officer would draft the commitment letter for you and then finalize that. And that's really the first document that's between you, the applicant, and the URA that's committing to the provisions of the loan. What the loan amount is, the interest rate, what the term of the loan is, what needs to happen before closing and after closing. That's kind of like the first thing that you get. If you need additional technical assistance, or the microloan review committee recommends that you get some more support in digital marketing, for example, that's something that can be a provision or a condition of the loan. So that can be built into this commitment letter as well. And then your loan officer would hook you up or introduce you with Kate, and then get that conversation going on the side. And then once the commitment letter is signed and basically the microloan closing docs are drafted and those are signed and funds are dispersed, really. And we can talk more offline on particulars, but that just gives you a sense of timeline. And I think time check at 7:30. So really quickly, repaying the microloan, this slide is kind of giving you a sense of how much your monthly loan payments are going to be depending on your loan term, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years. Again, 2% interest rate across the board. Just know that for the URA loan program, programs that we have, typically the first 6 months of the loan term are interest only payments. Now, if you want to do principal and interest payments right out of the gate, that's totally fine with us. There's no prepayment penalties either, but just wanted to share this information with you so you can adjust and maybe kind of plug in the numbers into your projections if you have those at the ready to see if your business can at the moment afford a URA microloan of say $30,000 or something maybe on the lower side. So just sharing this for numbers sake. Next slide, please. And, oh, here we are. I think, Josette, leave it to you to coordinate Q&A.
So folks, do we have any, we've addressed a few questions in the chat. Does anybody have any questions that you want to bring up now? You can just, we're not a huge crowd tonight, so if you just unmute and you can unmute and say your name and ask your question if you have it. Otherwise, we'll go on to show you all of our contact information. No questions. We must have done, Carly must have done a really great job at presenting everything. I am going to go to the next two slides that just kind of shows our contact information, and then I will go back to full screen. And maybe if folks have have some questions they can ask. So just reminding you how to stay connected with the URA. We talked a little bit about this at the beginning. Our website is ura.org. You can sign up to get our monthly newsletter, which talks about all of the programs that we're doing. You can also pretty easily follow us on whatever social media that you're on. And then our contact information. And like we said, this will be available to everybody. We're going to actually email the presentation out to all of you within the next couple of days. And so our contact information, myself, Kate, Carly, and the contact here for the FEC is Rebecca Johnson. She's actually the program manager for the FEC. So Rebecca would be your main contact person there. So I am going to stop screen sharing and take us to full screen. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to just unmute and ask if you do. If you think of something later, feel free to just get in touch with any of us, email any of us. Even if you're a business that's not in the city, I saw one business that asked the question, and I don't remember who it was, asked the question earlier and is not in the city of Pittsburgh. Dell's Credit Solutions, but it looks like you stayed on and listened anyway. You know, we can refer you to other resources around the Pittsburgh area, or even we have some contacts throughout the state. So it's worth it to keep in touch. Kieran asked for more information on MWBE business. Do you want to clarify that? Are you still on? Are you interested in getting certified as an MWBE business? Is that what you're asking? Kiran Kahara. I can see you here.
How do I
Maybe
unmute?
I need to unmute you, maybe. So I just unmuted you. There you go.
Yeah, hi, how are you? All right, yeah, I just wasn't familiar with what exactly that is. So, yeah, if you could just, just tell me how would you get into that program or?
So it's really more of a designation than a program.
Okay.
MWB is a designation that we use and that is used sort of at the public level of businesses that are owned and operated by minorities and women.
Okay, so that would be, I would qualify for that, so.
Right. So for the microloan, it's not a requirement for the microloan, although we do, one of the reasons that we started the microloan program was to be able to provide capital to businesses and potential businesses, entrepreneurs who are coming at it from a disadvantage, who maybe traditionally, for one reason or another, have not had access to capital at the regular walk into your bank and get a loan process. And that tends to be the most micro businesses tend to exist in minority communities and as well be owned by women. So it's sort of a focus that we've had.
Okay.
It is not a requirement of the microloan, but there are other programs. For instance, if you have a business that's providing a service like even a catering business or doing
Yeah, I'm in the
doing-
food business, fast food business, so.
so it's possible to get your business certified as an MWBE business. And that then, if you're looking at doing any kind of contracts with public agencies like the county, the city, the state, any of those, then they actually require certification as an MWB. And it's basically, you go through a process that certifies that yes, 51% of this business is owned by a woman or someone from a minority group or
Okay.
both.
Right.
And if you look on our website, we do have our MWBE, a section of our website based on that, and can give you some information about how to apply and contact
Okay.
information about going through the process. We don't do actual certification, but the county does, and we can
Okay.
they can direct you to the folks that do that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
And Josette, the Center for Women's Entrepreneurship, we do have a counselor who specializes in assisting businesses with exploring what sort of diversity certifications might be right for them and the application process. They don't apply for you. You still have to do the application process yourself. But you can meet with them and they basically lay out what's needed to make it happen.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kate. And Carly just put our website link in the chat. And also from Dell's Credit Solution. So I think, you mentioned before that you're actually across the state in Mechanicsburg. And I would look at any of the universities, colleges that are around the center part of the state have what's called SBDCs, Small Business Development Centers. I believe that, there's a Temple University branch in Harrisburg, and I think that they have one. And also Harrisburg Area Community College may have one. I would check with them and see if they have something called a Small Business Development Center, because then they're like the Chatham Center for Women's Entrepreneurship. They'll have the information that you need in your area. And Kate just shared a website of finding a small business development center in your area. So that would probably be your best bet, to talk to them and get information in your area about getting certified. Any other questions? Well, seeing no more questions, as we mentioned before, we will be emailing this presentation out to you all, so you'll have our contact information. Feel free to get in contact with us. It is better, at least on my part, and I think for Carly and Claren as well, it is right now, it is better to email us as opposed to calling the phone numbers. You will get a voicemail if you call any of our phone extensions, and it is sent to us. It's transcribed to us via email, but sometimes I'm not sure if this is true for anyone else, but sometimes it feels like it sometimes takes a day for that to get to me, and it's not as effective as sending me an email. So that's always the best form of communication. So if you, on that note, I want to thank everybody for coming and thank our speakers for helping us tonight. And Carly and Clara and the URA staff that's also here. And I'm going to close the meeting and turn off the recording. We will also be posting this recording on the URA website as well if you want to watch it. So thank you all again, and we will be sending this information out to you. All right, thank you, everybody.